Hello everybody, and welcome back. You'll notice that it's just me in this episode. That's because we sort of lost our audio for this episode, so I'm just going to be recording over it by myself because Marc and Joe are busy. I'm not. I have a lot of free time on my hands. So, never done this before. So this game, I'm going to just talk about this game since what's in front of me. I've noticed that it was a lot better when I was a kid. Like, a lot better. It's like, it's like one of those things where, like, you play a game as a kid and you think to yourself, this is a fun game, this is a great game, and then it's not, you know what I mean? So, I kind of feel bad for Marc that he has to play it because I thought it was a lot better than it was. It's like when you play a game you really like and then you recommend it to a friend and they play it and they absolutely hate it. But we've all had that. We've all had that where a friend recommends us a game to play and then we start playing it and we're like, what? This game's dumb, and then you just pop off. But this is one of those weird exceptions where, like, I don't think I'd recommend this game to anyone, because I think the only people who can appreciate it are kids. I honestly think that, because this is not the greatest Pokemon game. I do appreciate that it's a full 3D Pokemon game, even if it's not a full game in and of itself. So I think one of its biggest problems is actually the Shadow Pokemon mechanic. It's different. It's interesting. It's a different concept than in any other Pokemon game. But, well, I don't think it was executed very well, because it's kind of annoying to drop the Shadow Pokemon gauge, you know what I mean? And, like, I know that they had to work with the limitations of the GameCube, especially because I know the GameCube discs, because they were so small, they couldn't put as big of a game as they would like to on them all the time. So a lot of the times, games couldn't be ported onto the GameCube because they were just too big. And yeah, game kind of suffers for it. Now, I have no idea how well the second one is, XD, Gale of Darkness. No idea, never played it. But if it's anything like this, then it's going to be at least a little disappointing. Though I heard you can catch wild Pokemon in that game, so yeah. Oh, yeah, this is us trying to figure out how to get something to spawn. Because there was a specific thing that we had to do to get a scientific laboratory to pop up on the map. But it took us quite a while to figure out how to get it to pop up, and we were using a walkthrough because, man, do you kind of need it for this game. The one that I was using, the one that I was looking at, it just wasn't very helpful in any sense. So I had to find a second one, which was a lot more detailed. In fact, there was an entire section that just wasn't in the original one I was using. And yeah, that's not great, is it? Turns out we had to go back to Agate Village in order to proc something. But I think in the meantime he decides to go off and do something. But I don't know. That was what? When did we record this? Like a week ago? So, oh man, I'm only like 5 minutes into this. But back to the game. That's another actual point to this game, is how you get stuff to happen. It's not, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. It doesn't really follow logic. There's no real narrative flow to it. It's just kind of you talking to people over and over until something happens. Now, sometimes they give you a clue as to where to go, but a lot of the times, well, they don't. And you're just kind of left floundering, wondering where to go, what to do, what do help. Thank goodness for walkthroughs now. I don't know how I did this as a kid. I don't know how I got as far into the game as I did without one. But whatever. Maybe I was just smarter as a kid than I am as an adult. Or creative. Yeah, maybe you just need a really large sense of imagination to get from point A to point B in this game. Wouldn't surprise me. After everything we've seen. But, you know, people like this game. I liked this game for a long time, and then we revisited it. And now I'm not so sure. I think the game is fun enough for a Pokemon game. I just think it's a lot more annoying than it is fun. The double battle thing, too, is also an interesting choice. Now, I know that they needed to make this different than other Pokemon games, but it's a weird decision. Double battles, well, to be fair, this started off with Gen 3, and if you remember Gen 3 in the, handheld games, they were really showing off the double battle feature. But they didn't do them super often. They happened a lot, but they didn't, not to this extent. It wasn't every battle. You knew exactly who you were going to end up double battling in that game. It was always two people standing right next to each other, and you're like, well, I bet I'm about to fight both of them. And most of the time you were right. Me personally, I grew up with Sapphire. It was the first Pokemon I really ever played to completion. And man, oh man. That was a fun one. That was a fun one. My friend had Ruby, so we would compete with each other with the game, and it was fine for the most part until we had a link cable, and so he would kick my ass because he was a smart trainer. I was a dumb one. What I mean by that is he had a well-balanced team of Pokemon with varied moves and types. I mostly just focused on my main Pokemon, my starter. I got him all the way up to level 100. Because I have no life. I was going to say had, but I still don't. So, yeah, that was fun. He had a really annoying Pokemon. I think it was a Cradily. Excuse me. He had a Cradily, and that thing knew Rest, Ingrain. All I know is that it had a lot of stall moves, and the only way to beat it was to one-hit it, because if you didn't kill it at once... Oh yeah, it also had Leech Seed. He was talking to me about it, actually. He was talking to me about how he would change it. He would change one of those moves that he had to Toxic, and just make it so that it Toxics everyone in my team, and then have another one with Roar or Whirlwind, and so it would just swap through my Pokemon and poison. He didn't do it back in the day, but he told me that's what he would do now. And thinking about it, that's a really evil move. Smart as heck, but very, very evil. Oh, there goes Hitmontop. Oh no, poor Hitmontop. Oh no. But where was I going with that? But yeah, that's what we would do as kids. He had Ruby version, I had Sapphire. We used to go to the park of all places and play them, because the park that's nearby our houses, it's pretty big, and they have all these different baseball area fields, and some of them had dugouts, and the dugouts themselves had an outlet in them, some of them. And so we would just, if our battery started to die on our Game Boys, we would just plug it into those outlets. Honestly, it was pretty cool. Yeah. Nostalgic days. So now I'm wondering just how I played this game. Was it just because I didn't have any other Pokemon games besides Sapphire? Whew, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old to play this game or something. Maybe I just have played too many other games and have And I'm drawing too many, like, comparisons to others. Because if you compare this to, like, any ordinary Pokemon game, it doesn't hold up. Which is unfortunate, too, because we only ever got the 2 games on the GameCube that were full Pokemon games. And, well, that is unless you had that little attachment to the GameCube that you could play Game Boy Advance games on your GameCube, on your TV. But most of us didn't have that. And, well, if you didn't have a Game Boy, these were the only Pokemon games you could play. Was the 2 on the GameCube. Well, you could also play Pokemon Stadium on the N64, but those were even less Pokemon games than these were, though arguably a lot more fun, because they have the minigames. Did both of them have minigames? I know at least one of them had minigames. And of course, eventually the Wii had a Pokemon game that was basically just a Pokemon Stadium game. I think the Wii U... yeah, Wii U had Pokken. That was the Pokemon game Wii U had. Oh, Pokken. I will say this, though. A Pokemon fighting game where you actually fight as the Pokemon. See, I've always wanted that in a Pokemon game. And there are rumors, now they're just rumors, that I've just kind of heard on, like, forums and stuff, that the next Pokemon game, the next full Pokemon game, is going to have battle sequences kind of like Pokken, where you battle as the Pokemon instead of just turn-based. And while I will admit that that's very different and could either work or break the game, I think it would be interesting to see at the very least. Because, we got Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, I think, are the ones that are coming out now. And those are baby games for babies. The thing behind those games is Nintendo said they wanted Pokemon for casual fans. And unless you were some of the people who would, take these games real seriously, these are casual games. In fact, these are like the epitome of casual games, right? Right? Like, how can you make this game more casual? Put it on a phone. I mean, they already did that. And so now we have the console version of put it on the phone. I mean, apparently the catch system is exactly the same. I don't even know if that game's out yet. I haven't really been paying attention. As soon as they told me it was going to be like Pokemon Go, I stopped caring. Because it's not that I hated Pokemon Go. It was fun while it lasted, but it became too annoying to play after a while. If you wanted to actually enjoy the game, you had to, like, dedicate a lot of time to playing it. And that's just so you could go outside and collect Pokeballs. And it was really dumb. In the long run. Now, they've added a lot of features since I stopped playing. You can trade with people now. Legendaries are finally a thing, though I think you can only get them through raids. Yeah, it's just... For me, it was too little too late. You know what I mean? I wanted this stuff when the game released, and instead we didn't get that. Instead, all we got was just your Pokemon trainer, go catch Pokemon. That's it. And another annoying thing about that game was just... The most annoying part was gathering Pokeballs. That was the most annoying thing. And it shouldn't have been. It should have been very basic. Should have just been able to just get them. Instead of having to go and walk around and, like, spin a thing to get more and more. Which... When I played, I actually had a fake GPS app. Not because I wanted to go and get, and cheat, go get all the Pokemon. No, I just had it for Pokeballs. I just would, like, use it to go to a place with a bunch of Pokestops and just get Pokeballs. And as soon as they patched in a fix so that you can't do the GPS thing anymore, I stopped playing. Because at that point it became too annoying. It became too much work to go out and go gather supplies for it. But it's whatever. People still really enjoy the game to this day, and I'm really glad that they do. It's just not for me anymore, which is unfortunate because I had a lot of high hopes for it, But I guess what I really wanted was a full Pokemon game on my phone. So I guess I just wanted like a red or blue on my phone, which I can do because I have an Android and I could just emulate it if I wanted to. But that's not what I want. I want a new game. You know what I mean? Like an actual full new game on my phone. Because I'm weird. Well, I don't think I'm weird. I think there's a lot of people who want that. But, you know, it just wasn't what we got at all. Which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. Oh well. Maybe one day. I know that there's a knockoff one. It was the funniest. So there's a knockoff Pokemon game on the phone. I don't remember the name of it. But it was using actual Pokemon, like the actual names and everything, but they turned it into a freemium game, and it was really, really poorly dubbed, like really badly translated. My bad. Really bad translations. It was the worst English you ever heard, like ever read. It was pretty bad, and I debated playing it because it was a Pokemon game on my phone. It worked exactly the same almost. Well, except you had energy, and I think you could only get Pokeballs through like login bonuses, which is a little worse than Pokemon Go. But I was still intrigued. But in the end, it wasn't really. Oh yeah, the science facility. We finally made it. The entire episode up to this point was just to get here. And it took us 17 minutes to get here. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Favorite this video in your hearts. Share it with people you know, people you hate. And we will see you guys next time on 100% Clueless. Bye!